Okay, so today we have, or for the next week, because we're doing a little bit of playing around with this one.
Yeah, we're doing some R&D on it and getting, we should probably tell them what car it is. It's a 2021 Hyundai i30n with the 2-litre turbo DCT in it. So the auto model.
Yep.
Up to this point here, they only came out in a manual. So looking forward to getting stuck into this one. Obviously, we're going to do most of our big stuff on it. Res delete, dump pipe, uni-chip, air intake, blower valve. Putting it on the dyno now for a before run to get a good baseline of where it's at, look at the AFRs, measure the boost, etc. That way there throughout the video I can give you a good update on exactly what's happened, what's changed.
I'm excited to see the results of this one.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of calls lately about it. I've taken a lot of calls, I've taken a lot of emails. I can't wait to actually sink our teeth into it and see how it performs.
Yeah, yep.
If anything, what do you think might be, something that you're a little bit like, oh, I don't know if that's going to fit from the old i30n to the new DCT model?
Just from what I've seen, the air intake is one of the things. The other thing also, they've reorientated the position of the blower valve on the cold pipe. That faces more directly towards the thermo fans now. It'll be interesting to see the height of the turbo scope blower valve, whether we get clearance or not. Aside from that, I'm pretty confident the dump pipe will be the same. They haven't changed any of the engine mounts, the engine orientation, etc. It has got a facelift turbo on it, meaning it is bigger than the previous model. I don't think they've changed the casting on the exhaust housing or anything like that, so I'm pretty sure that stuff should bolt straight on.
Oh, perfect. All right, well, I guess, Richo, I'll check back in with you soon.
Yep, run this up.
Excellent. Richo.
Hey, mate.
Can you explain this dyno graph to me and everyone at home, please?
Okay, I sure can. So I've done multiple runs. I've done that specifically because I wanted to see the differences in the drive modes. Basically, it's the same as the last model. There is absolutely no difference in power, torque, boost, or fuel in any of the drive modes. So the N is exactly the same as standard, which is exactly the same as Eco, which is what they've done. The differences are obviously the shift time, the weight shifts, and the throttle response, which again, the throttle response was a big feature of the last pre-facelift model. So what I've got on the screen here is the 3 dyno graphs made 177, 178, 180. So basically drew over the top of each other. On the first page here, you can see I've got it up against boost. So it comes up, makes about 19 pound at 2700. So that's basically the highest it gets. It falls away a little bit, about 4,000 RPM. There's a little bit of a dip. Then it comes back up again, and it sits about 17 PSI for basically the whole run, which again is exactly the same as what we saw on the previous model. I will bring up fueling as well, so that we get an idea on the AFRs. So again, fueling's the same. So you can see it stays in closed loop. Once it gets to open loop, goes to basically a flat 11 to 1. So very safe, but on the bright side, gives us plenty of room to play with the tune as well. So we know that we can bring the fueling up a little bit, get some more power out of it. And of course, we'll finish off on the torque. So torque, about 340 Newton meters, 330 Newton meters in all the drive modes. I expect to see probably a good 60 Newton meter gain out of that, like we did on the last model as well. So something like this, I would hope with the package we're getting, or I know with the package that we're going to put on it, we'll see over 200 kilowatts, and we'll also see about 400 Newton meters of torque. So it'll be a little weapon.
I can't wait.
So enough info?
Enough info, that's perfect. Hey Richo.
Yeah, mate.
I just noticed that cold air intake you've got to fit.
I have. Probably came down at the perfect time. Yeah, so we've always used the Takeda, the AFE stuff. We've done plenty of data logging and testing with them. We're a big fan of the intake. The fact that it's closed as well is a pretty cool feature. Basically, one of the things we've noticed is there is no intake available, aftermarket cold air intake available on the market for the DCT model. And the reason for that is because of the transcooler lines here. The manual models don't have that, so if you've got a manual facelift, it doesn't matter. So the AFE airbox has already got a hole in the side of it. They put it there to give you a little bit more of that deeper throttle noise.
What's it called?
Whop. Whop. Right. So now I've got double overhead whop holes. Going to run some pinch tubing around it. It's nowhere near the hose, but it just gives it an aesthetic appearance as well. It looks good. The rest of it all fits up. So, as with the previous model, the little scoop on the front of it needs to be cut in order to fit. We know from the past this makes absolutely no difference to the tune, the air temps, anything like that. So it's really up to you whether you want to just take the sides out so it fits up. I will, because I think it looks cool. Okay, so I'm pretty stoked because in a 5-minute modification, I was able to get an AFE intake to fit to the DCT model. The intake pipe all fits up exactly the same way. The reducer's the same, the air filter's the same, and the return hose for the blow-off valve's the same. So, you know, we've got an aftermarket intake to suit the DCT models, and I'm wrapped about it.
You measured air temps as well.
Yeah, so when I had it on the dyno before, plugged the data logger in it, along with measuring everything else, timing, etc., etc. I measured the air temp. There will be a bunch of, you know, internet heroes out there that are going to tell me that having a hole above the air trans-cooler line is going to make a difference. It won't. I can basically guarantee it. That won't change the air temps at all, but I will data log again, and I will show the results afterwards anyway. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it brings the overall air intake temps down by, but having that hole there won't make a difference. All right, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was blow-off valves. I've got the blow-off valve off at the moment. Like I said, the orientation of where it is on the intake pipe is a bit different. I'm pointing to where it is now, and that would be because if it was more horizontal the way it was on the previous model, it had probably hit the trans computer on the front of the trans there. The good news is it fits. It fits with clearance. It's tight, but it does fit with clearance. It won't touch the fans. I was a little bit concerned about it. So you can see there is a height difference, but it does fit. I'll give you a rundown as to why we upgrade the blow-off valve. Stacks of people have said specifically it's because it's from plastic to having a billet body makes it stronger, and that is true. It definitely does increase the structural integrity of it, but it's not the main reason. The main reason is the venting capacity. After we tune this, it's obviously going to have a higher PSI boost pressure. That boost pressure is going to need to go somewhere when you get off the throttle. The factory blow-off valve is on its limit, as they are on all applications. So we upgrade the blow-off valve, so with that extra boost capacity, the blow-off valve can vent it correctly and safely, so it protects the turbo from getting anything thrown back on the front of it.
So you managed to fit the blow-off valve?
Yeah, mate, it fits up, no problems.
Hey, I noticed one thing.
I know exactly what you're going to say too.
No plumb back?
No plumb back.
What happened?
That was the customer's request.
Oh, hello.
You know, if you're going to go this far, you want it to sound cool, and you don't get as good noise when it's back into the intake, surely.
Full race mode.
Race mode, mate. It's a race car.
I've just wanted back in to see Richo because what he's done, he set up the intake, the blow-off valve, put the Uni-chip on it. So we haven't done the dump pipe yet, just to get some runs in it, and get to see where the tune's at, just with some basic mods. So I guess if you want to take it from here.
Yeah, cool. All right, so as Paul mentioned, I did the standard runs, which you saw. Doesn't matter what drive mode it was, it basically made the same power, torque, boost, fuel, etc. Since then, I put the air intake on it and the blow-off valve, just to measure what the air intake itself would do. We all know that a good quality cold air intake gives a really good improvement on throttle response. We've also known on the past, especially on this platform and a few others, that they don't necessarily make any difference to power and torque, which can be seen here. So the blue run and the red run are both standard. One is with the air intake, one is without the air intake. There was a little bit more boost in the top end by about £1 with the air intake on, but it basically drew over itself. No additional power, no additional torque, and it didn't change the fueling in any way. From there, I put it into a tune mode with the Uni-chip, the N custom mode, just to give it a proper tune with the intake to see what the differences are. That was when we started to see a really big difference. You can see that's a brown line on the dyno graph. So you can see we're up at 226 kilowatts. So looking at the increase in torque as well, like I mentioned, it made about 300 Newton meters at the front wheel standard. Now we're sitting at 380, so we're up about that 60 Newton meters, but I'd expect a little bit more once a dump pipe's on it and the tune to suit it.